The late summer sun slanted low through the scorched canopy of pine ridge, turning every needle and leaf into shards of gold and ember. Captain Mara Nguyen strode along the dusty fire line, the soles of her boots crunching over brittle pine duff that threatened to ignite at the slightest spark. Heat radiated from the ground in shimmering waves. Even the air felt dry enough to crack. Her crew of 6 fanned out behind her, each soldier of the flames clad in Nomex shirts, Kevlar gloves, and heavy leather boots caked with dust. Corporal Diego Ruiz paused to inspect a row of infrared sensors mounted on charred posts. Last year's blaze had left scars, but today's readings displayed only a safe baseline. Humidity at 12%. Soil temperature steady at 22 degrees Celsius, and no subterranean hotspots. Mara nodded, satisfied, and gave the signal to move on. Further along the ridge, Lieutenant Sarah Kim knelt beside a cluster of young oaks sprouting from last winter's cones. She dabbed moisture from the leaves with a Q-tip and checked her handheld hygrometer. 9%. "They're parched, Captain," she reported, voice muffled by her up-zipped collar. "One lightning strike, one errant ember, it'd be a goner in minutes." Mara scanned the skeletal trunks rising above them. Towering pines stripped bare of lower limbs, their upper crowns brittle. "We lost our regular rains months ago," she muttered. "This place is tinderbox ready." She tapped coordinates into her helmet-mounted GPS. North 38 degrees, 32 minutes, 12 seconds. West 120 degrees, 45 minutes, 30 inches. Then marked a waypoint for the night's infrared sweep. As heat-seeking drones fluttered overhead, sending live thermal scans to the mobile command unit, Mara's team unpacked infrared cameras and acoustic sensors. Specialist Jordan Liu mounted a lens against a blackened snag, calibrating its sensitivity to detect even faintest heat signatures. Nearby, Corporal Tariq Hassan swept a microphone array among the brush, tuning for the crackle of smoldering embers hidden beneath the surface. All the while, the forest around them settled into evening's lull. Crickets chirped their nightly trill. Distant jays called their raucous warning as night predators stirred beneath the boughs. Yet amid the hum of equipment and insect chorus, a singular, unexpected flicker of green light pulsed at the edge of their camp, so dim and deliberate that it might have been a trick of tired eyes. Diego paused, water vessel in hand, and stared. There, above a ring of oak saplings, hovered a lone firefly, its bioluminescent lantern blinking in a precise rhythm. 3 rapid flashes, a brief pause, then 2 slow pulses, repeating every 10 seconds. In a place where mechanical sensors detected nothing, this single insect had become a living beacon in the gathering darkness. Its flicker a silent, urgent summons the crew had yet to understand. Night fell swiftly over Pine Ridge, the sky shifting from molten orange to ink black, punctuated by distant stars. Mara's team gathered around the mobile command unit, a reinforced trailer bristling with antennas, where dim red lights blinked on instrument panels. Specialist Liu panned the infrared camera across the ridge. Every tree trunk and rock face glowed only with residual evening warmth. No hidden hotspots lurked among the duff. Acoustic sensors, too, were silent, registering only the soft whistle of the cooling breeze through pine needles. "Looks clean," Liu reported, voice low. He lowered the camera and exhaled a cloud of vapor. "Ground zero shows no anomalies." Tariq tapped his earpiece to verify the microphone array. 96 decibels ambient noise, but no telltale hiss of embers. "Everything's normal," he added, "except it's unnaturally still." Indeed, the forest was unnervingly silent. Fire lines, usually alive with creaking branches and the distant crunch of wildlife, were now hushed beyond the team's headlamps. A single cricket chirrup sounded mournfully, then stilled, as though even insects dared not stir in the dry heat. Mara studied her crew from the command unit's open door. Temperatures had dropped only to 28 degrees Celsius, an almost tropical warmth for the woods at midnight. Sweat beaded on her brow, a reminder that any embers smoldering undetected might reignite in seconds. "Keep scanning," she ordered. "Nothing moves that we don't see." As the crew resumed their vigil, Corporal Diego Ruiz lingered near a cluster of young oaks at the camp's perimeter. The same saplings Sarah had noted were dangerously dry. He watched their leaves shimmer in the infrared feed, but saw no hint of heat stress beyond the normal. Still, an uneasy feeling tugged at him, as though something just beyond the edge of perception had shifted. Then, at the very fringe of his headlamp's glow, he caught a flicker, a pinpoint of soft, greenish light hovering in the still air. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, and the glow reappeared, pulsing deliberately. 3 quick blinks, a pause, 2 slower pulses, each flash cutting through the darkness with startling clarity. Diego's heart thumped. He raised a gloved hand to halt Sarah and Liu. "Do you see that?" he whispered. They peered into the gloom. Above a small tangle of oak saplings, a lone firefly hovered, its bioluminescent abdomen shining like a Morse code lantern. Around them, the forest remained inert, no wind, no sensors. Yet this single insect's flicker carried a message, an urgency that no machine had detected. In the microwave hush of their instruments, the firefly's staccato glow glimmered with warning, a natural beacon in the gathering dark that would soon save Pine Ridge from roaring destruction. Diego Ruiz crouched beneath the oaks, mesmerized by the tiny lantern above him. The firefly's bioluminescent glow pulsed with uncanny precision. Blink, 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 0.2 seconds each, then a 0.5 seconds pause, followed by pulse pulse, 0.5 seconds each, repeating on a 10-second cycle. Even against the backdrop of red sensor lights and the crew's murmured chatter, the pattern felt deliberate, far too regular to be random courtship signals. "Look at that timing," Diego whispered into his radio, drawing Captain Nguyen, Sarah, and Liu to his side. On Diego's thermal overlay goggles, the saplings registered no hotspot, yet the insect hovered, its abdomen flickering like a semaphore. Sarah peered through her own night vision scope. "It's targeting those oaks," she said. "But there's no ground heat anomaly there." Mara's brow furrowed under her helmet light. "Fireflies feed on heat-stressed foliage," she recalled from training. "They can sense plant volatiles when trees are under duress." She tapped coordinates into her handheld device at north 38 degrees, 32 minutes, 15 seconds, west 120 degrees, 45 minutes, 25 inches, marking the location. "Diego, record that flicker," she ordered. Diego activated his field recorder and video-linked his helmet camera to the command unit's monitors. The squad watched in real time as the replay revealed the Firefly's staccato code. Liu overlaid the footage with the infrared map, still clean, while Tariq's audio sensors logged the insect's wing hum, its pitch subtly modulating with each blink. "Biotic beacon," Tariq muttered, eyes wide. "It's calling attention to something we can't see." Moments later, Diego panned his gaze along the ridgeline, and a glimmer on the horizon caught his eye, a faint orange glow half concealed by the pines. It pulsed softly, too faint to register on the infrared cameras, but clear through night vision goggles. "There," he exclaimed. "Behind that fallen log jam on the ridge. There's heat." Mara didn't hesitate. "Gather the rappel teams," she barked. "We're investigating the far side of the ridge. Diego's Firefly friend just lit the path." As ropes and helmets were secured, Diego lingered for a final look at the insect, its pattern unchanged. 3 rapid blinks, pause. 2 slow pulses. A living SOS in the night. In the darkness of Pine Ridge, their smallest teammate had just revealed a hidden ember beneath the forest floor, and the crew moved out with new purpose, guided by nature's tiniest first responder. Inside the dim glow of the mobile command unit, Mara Nguyen and her specialists huddled around Diego's live-streamed Firefly footage and the infrared monitor. The insect's measured flicker, 3 rapid blinks, 0.2 seconds each, 0.5 seconds pause, then 2 slower pulses, 0.5 seconds each, repeated every 10 seconds. Yet no conventional sensor had flagged anything. Jordan Liu rewound the thermal camera's recording until it reached 22:13 hours, the moment Diego first spotted the Firefly. On Liu's screen, the burnished trunks and blackened soil registered only residual evening warmth. There was no emerging hotspot. Mara tapped her glove-mounted tablet. The ground temperature graph showed a flat line at 22 degrees Celsius, but Diego's camera feed revealed a subtle detail. Each time the Firefly blinked, its glow dimly illuminated a patch of leaf litter at the oak's base. Sarah Kim enlarged the video frame and saw a thin wisp of steam rising, as though something just beneath the surface were too hot. "Look at that," Sarah murmured, pointing to a faint shimmering between the roots. Mara's eyes narrowed. "Subterranean smolder," she said. "Probably a lightning strike from earlier today. The duff ignited underground, feeding on organic humus, and now it's just below our feet." She overlaid Diego's Firefly coordinates: north 38 degrees 32 minutes 15 seconds, west 120 degrees 45 minutes. 25 inches, onto the infrared map, and the spot lit up in a ghostly red marker, despite no surface heat anomaly. Tariq Hassan pulled up the acoustic sensor logs for that grid point. A tiny scrap of hiss, barely 50 decibels, had registered between 2212 and 2214 hours. He amplified the audio. The crackle was unmistakable. Embers breathing beneath the earth. "Smolder confirmed," he said, breath-catching. Mara straightened. That Firefly's flicker homed in on volatile compounds, released by heat-stressed roots, she explained. It sensed the subterranean fire we missed. She tapped a command into her tablet. "Reroute the infrared drones for a focused scan of that sector, and mobilize both rappel teams." Within minutes, the drones buzzed toward the ridge's far side, and the infrared overlay telegraphed a hidden ember zone. Coal-hot embers, glowing beneath a log jam. The crew exchanged triumphant, relieved looks. What machines had failed to detect, nature's smallest first responder had revealed. Guided by that flicker, they now had the coordinates they needed to extinguish the heart of a potential inferno. At 22:20 hours, 2 rappel teams loaded their gear into the command unit's rear compartment. Team Alpha, Lieutenant Sarah Kim and Specialist Jordan Liu, and Team Bravo, Corporal Tariq Hassan, and firefighter Emma's most experienced wildland paramedic, Ortiz. Each team carried 15 meters of hose, shovels, drip torches, and a portable infrared scanner for final confirmation. Mara assigned Diego as the ground guide. His Firefly-derived coordinates still live on the tablet. Grid 38 degrees, 32.254 minutes. North, 120 degrees, 45.417 minutes. West, elevation 1,480 meters. Within minutes, the teams departed under headlamp beams, their silhouettes slipping into the shadowed ridge forest. A cold breeze stirred as they ascended the log-jammed slope, punctuated by the hiss of distant subterranean embers. Sarah paused at a fallen ponderosa trunk half a meter above the duff. Liu's infrared scanner glowed orange, reading 68 degrees Celsius beneath the bark. "First pocket," Liu breathed, shining his light on a cluster of gray-white ash. "We've found it." Sarah dropped to one knee and pried away bark with her shovel, revealing glowing coals beneath. Tariq's hose hissed as he unreeled it, priming the nozzle. Ortiz knelt beside the smolder, dousing the embers until the scanner read 30 degrees Celsius. Safe, but still moist. Team Alpha moved swiftly uphill, repeating the process at 2 additional pockets. One beneath a layer of duff at 1,485 meters, the next wedged under a root crown at 1,492 meters, each verified by infrared and extinguished with precise water application. Meanwhile, Team Bravo encountered a trench of smoldering logs 5 meters to the west. Ortiz swept his thermal camera across the tangle, mapping 3 ember pockets, 70 degrees Celsius, 65 degrees Celsius, and 72 degrees Celsius, across a 10-meter span. They worked in tandem. Hassan used the drip torch to create a controlled backburn line uphill, starving the smolder of fuel, while Ortiz and Emma sprayed water into root cavities. The hiss of steam fogged their goggles, but the infrared feedback confirmed each smolder's death. Back at the ridge crest, Diego checked his watch. 22:55 hours, only 35 minutes since they'd started. He signaled Mara via radio. "All hotspots extinguished. Come in." The rappel teams exhaled collectively as they emerged from the forest, hoses coiled and scanners showing uniform 25 degrees Celsius readings. Under the glow of the mobile unit's floodlights, Mara met them at 2300 hours, surveying char-black duff now damp and cool. "Outstanding work," she said, voice hushed with relief. "That little Firefly saved this ridge from a catastrophic blaze." As the teams packed their gear, Diego glanced up at the nearby oak saplings, where the insect had first hovered. Though the Firefly was gone, its flicker had guided them here, and by midnight, what could have roared into a raging wildfire lay cold, silent embers, snuffed out by dozen hands racing against time and flame. The forest around the hidden ember pockets was eerily still as the rappel teams converged at the ridge's far side. Beyond their headlamps, the ponderosa trunks rose like silent sentinels, and the duff crackled faintly underfoot. Team Alpha, Sarah Kim, and Jordan Liu huddled around the largest smoldering root mass, its infrared scanner reading 75 degrees Celsius. Across a shallow gully, Team Bravo, Tariq Hassan and Emma, found a second ember nest beneath an overturned log, pulsating at 80 degrees Celsius. Sarah knelt first, shoveling away decades of dry needles and bark until the glowing core lay exposed. Beneath the steel-gray ash, red embers pulsed like a living heart. With a practiced swing, she pressed the hose's nozzle firmly into the scorched cavity, unleashing a steady stream of water that hissed and steamed on contact. Jordan monitored the scanner. 60 degrees Celsius, then 45 degrees Celsius, dropping until the display read 32 degrees Celsius. "Pocket 1, cold," he announced, relief evident in his voice. Meanwhile, Emma crawled into the tangle of roots on the Bravo side, while Tariq held the portable infrared unit. She directed the hose into narrow crevices, flushing out hidden coals until the scanner registered a safe 28 degrees Celsius. Tariq then swept a thermal sweep up the log's underside. Every shadow yielded another ember, and each was doused in turn until the log's temperature matched the ambient 22 degrees Celsius. Above them, the night sky glimmered with stars as both teams worked in tandem. Sarah and Jordan advanced uphill to a third hotspot, a cluster of smoldering duff at 1,498 meters, while Emma and Tariq sealed off the lower pockets with a wet line, creating a damp barrier to prevent any flashover. Every ember found was methodically extinguished. Shovel, spray, scan, repeat. The hiss of steam and the glow of infrared tracings were their only guide in the darkness. At 23:20 hours, the final ember surrendered. Jordan's scanner faded to a uniform 22 degrees Celsius, and Sarah smoothed the dampened soil over the former fire site, treading it down to eliminate any pockets of trapped heat. Tariq and Emma joined them, their breathing heavy but triumphant. Diego, stationed atop the ridge, keyed the radio. All pockets cold. Ember heart extinguished. The teams regrouped under the floodlights of the command unit. Hoses coiled, hoses drained, scanners powered down. Mara greeted them with a nod of profound gratitude. As the rappel teams loaded into the trailer, the forest at Pine Ridge lay silent and safe, the potential inferno reduced to damp earth. And though the Firefly that had signaled the danger had long since flown on, its fleeting flicker had sparked an all-hands response that stamped out the heart of a blaze before it could roar to life. By first light, Pine Ridge lay bathed in gentle rose and gold. The night's smoky haze had cleared, revealing a refreshed forest floor. Verdant ferns sprouting among damp duff, pine needles glistening with dew, and the distant silhouette of the Sierra crest etched against the sky. Captain Maranguyan stepped from the command trailer, boots sinking into soft, cooled earth, the sharp contrast to yesterday's tinder-dry duff that crackled underfoot. Her crew gathered around a fold-out table where Diego Ruiz displayed the night's data, a timeline of Firefly blinks, infrared scans, and ember temperature logs. Each sentinel flicker, 3 rapid blinks, 0.2 seconds each, a 0.5 seconds pause, then 2 slower pulses, 0.5 seconds each, was plotted against the exact coordinates of the 3 ember pockets: 1,480 meters, 1,485 meters, and 1,498 meters. The graphs showed how each hotspot had registered temperatures of 80 degrees Celsius before rapid suppression, dropping to 22 degrees Celsius in under 15 minutes. Mara surveyed her team: Sarah Kim, Jordan Liu, Tariq Hassan, Emma Ortiz, and Diego, faces flushed with exhaustion and triumph. Tonight, our smallest partner led us to the blaze before it could roar, she began, voice thick with gratitude. We've already submitted the data to Incident Command, integrating biotic indicators into our wildfire detection protocols. She tapped a laminated sheet titled Firefly Early Warning Integration, outlining sensor attachments for camera traps near vulnerable stands and algorithm parameters for autonomous detection of blinking patterns. As the crew dispersed to pack gear, Diego retrieved a small vial from his pocket, a single live firefly captured after the operation. He released it onto a dew-slick leaf at the base of a young oak. The insect hovered briefly, then rose in a graceful arc above the saplings, its abdomen flickering once, an elfin salute before it vanished into the sunlit canopy. Mara watched until the firefly's glow was swallowed by morning light. In that final flicker, she saw the promise of a new era, one in which the wisdom of nature's tiniest guardians would guide humanity's fiercest responders, preventing devastation with a simple, shining signal.